probably talk a little bit about Coco, just because you guys see her in the background of my videos a lot. But this is Coco Puff, and she is a poodle mix. I adopted her when I was 21, so that was like 8 years ago. I came home from Animal Con. I noticed that Coco was acting like she was like breathing kind of weird, so I took her to the vet and they did x-rays, and the vet didn't really see anything too wrong with her, but he offered to send it to a radiologist, and unfortunately she is in the very beginning stages of heart failure. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this. Oh my god. Oh my god, on camera it even looks like just, oh my god. Gotta scruff it up. It's too clean. Oh my god. This looks so incredibly, oh my god. That looks just like her. She would sit just like this. This is insane. So Coco passed away on October 9th. We found out she had been experiencing heart failure, and she was on a couple medications, and we were managing it. And at the time that she was diagnosed, they assured me that it was really early, that we had caught it really early, that there were lots of treatment options available. And I did adopt her when she was around a year old, and that was in 2013. So she was probably about 11-ish years old. So we kind of still expected her to kind of finish out the rest of her life just on medication and stuff. And unfortunately, unexpectedly, one night I woke up and she was breathing like really weird. It was like 3 in the morning, so I took her to an emergency vet, and I'm gonna regret this forever. I feel like I shouldn't have brought her, because like, I'm not blaming them or anything, but like, I took her up there, and you know, they just took her one way, they took me the other way. I didn't even like get to say goodbye or anything, because it wasn't really expected that it was gonna go this way. They told me that they were gonna drain the fluid and that I could pick her up the next day. And when I called the next day, they told me that she had gotten worse and to come up there. And then they called me back on my way there to say that she wasn't gonna make it until I got there. So I'm just so upset that it went that way, because like, part of me just wishes that it happened at home. I've really just been like grieving and like trying to like honor her and remember her, and this is just like insanely, it's so accurate, like especially from behind. Like, she even had like a little overbite, and they included the little overbite, and they painted her nose. I do think she looks a little too clean. As you know, Coco was never like this clean, but they like literally got like the texture of her fur, the color perfectly. And then in her ears, they literally have like her hair in her ears perfect as well. Like, she started going gray, and they actually got the gray in it. And but yeah, so thank you, Cuddle Clones, so much for sending me this. If you guys want, they did give me an affiliate link if you do want to get one to remember a pet, or just to like get your pet made into one. Like, they're really popular, like they're actually a really huge like company or whatever, but I am extremely impressed. Like, this is insane. Like, this is gonna like make me do some double takes for sure. It's like even the same size as her. So I did want to kind of briefly just talk about Coco a little bit in this video, and then introduce somebody. So when I was 21 years old, I really wanted to get my own dog. I had never had like my own pet like that before, so I really wanted like a companion like that. It sounds kind of funny, but like, I grew up watching The Simple Life with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie, and they always had their like little dogs with them, and that is why I started looking for one. And my mom actually found Coco. She was up for adoption at some event at like a PetSmart or something, and my mom got the foster mom's contact information. I lived at my mom's house at the time, and I contacted the foster mom, and the foster mom brought over like, I think like 4 other dogs. I remember there's like a Maltese, a Yorkie, and then Coco. Immediately I was drawn to Coco, and she was drawn to me. It was like we bonded literally immediately. And I had always wanted a poodle, like always. That was like, when I was a kid, that was like a dream dog. Like, I just always wanted a poodle. I thought they were the cutest. I still do. They're my favorite breed ever. And Coco was 100% poodle looking. I never did a genetic test to find out exactly what breed she was, but she was very poodle looking. And so just everything, the connection, the breed, everything everything connected immediately, and they adopted her to me. And immediately we were just like best friends. She went everywhere with me. Eric and I didn't live with each other at the time, but we were like dating, and I would take her over to his house and I would dress her up, and just like Paris Hilton would, I would dress her up, and I was so excited. And then eventually, so we're gonna go a little bit like into the history of my dogs. Eventually, I think it was like a year after I adopted Coco, my mom really liked Coco, because like I said, we were living at my mom's house at the time, and my mom really liked Coco and she wanted a dog like Coco as well. So we went to another adoption event and we found this Maltese mix, and my mom was gonna adopt her. And so like they came to my mom's house and we introduced the dog to Coco, and they clicked right away. And at last minute, as we were about to sign the papers, my mom chickened out and she was like, I don't think I want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it. I don't, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll adopt her. Like, I'm cool with it. I'll take another dog.
Her name is Dolly, and she's a Maltipoo. We got her from a rescue. She was somebody else's pet, and they allowed her to get pregnant at a very young age. So she had puppies, and none of the puppies made it. She was too young to have them.
You do look really cute though.
Daddy's all wet. Daddy's all wet.
When I was signing the papers to adopt her and like paying the fee, they disclosed that she had had some history of health issues, which they didn't tell me when we were looking at her. It was kind of like a sudden, like, oh, you're attached to the dog and now we're going to tell you about some issues she's had. But they said that that was all behind her and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So I don't really know if that's connected at all in any way, but I had Dolly for about 4 years. One day I noticed that Dolly was acting like very strange. She was like under our bed, which was pretty common for her, but she was under the bed and she was acting like she was in trouble or something. She was just like really sulking and just like, you know, when a dog like gets into the trash or something and you scold them and they act guilty, that's how she was acting. And it was just so off to me. So I pulled her out from under the bed and I knew immediately something was wrong with her because she was just like dead weight. So I rushed her to the emergency vet. Mind you, this is in 2016. I was 7 months pregnant. I took her to this emergency vet and they diagnosed her with something called IMHA, which basically meant that her immune system, it's an autoimmune disease, and her immune system was killing her red blood cells, making her extremely anemic. And it was so sudden, and usually it's like a fatal diagnosis. But as I said, I was like very pregnant at the time and I was so upset and emotional, and so was my mom, and my mom was trying to help, and my mom paid like $2 grand on these vet bills at least, and they kept giving her blood transfusions over and over. I remember at my baby shower, she was at the emergency vet. I had talked to them that morning and they said they'd do another blood transfusion if I wanted. I know that the vet techs that worked there were bringing their dogs in to donate blood, and they kept trying to give her blood, but her body kept killing the red blood cells so quickly that she stayed anemic and she eventually started getting seizures, and we unfortunately had to put her to sleep, and it was really emotional and it was really bad. That was, you know, Coco's companion. And after Dolly passed away, you know, I really wanted to get another dog immediately. I was so upset. You know, I knew that the baby was coming soon and I wanted to get the dog established before the baby came. And I immediately almost started looking at adoption centers and agencies and stuff, and I went to some adoption events, and immediately the first thing it seemed like every foster parent would see was my belly, and they'd basically talk me out of the dog that I was interested in, or just not straight up not want to adopt me or give me any attention. Like they would see me like looking at a dog and they just like wouldn't even acknowledge me. So it was like pretty clear that nobody wanted to adopt to a pregnant person. But then I found Poe.
This is Poe. He is a Shih Tzu mix. I adopted him about 5 years ago. When I was pregnant, I adopted him, and everybody told me it was a bad idea. It probably was, but
I found him up for adoption at a vet place that was literally like 5 minutes away from our apartment at the time. All of the initial contact was over the internet. So I, you know, put in an application. They called my vet and they knew the vet and everything. And it just, when I went to go meet him, they didn't even say anything about my belly. They didn't look at my belly. I didn't say anything about it, and they adopted him to me right away. And of course, I've had him now, like I said, since 2016, and he was about a year old-ish as well when I got him. Maybe a little younger, actually. He was pretty young still in his biting phase, but yeah. So that's how I got Poe. Hi, so Editing Kat here. So I just put my next file into the editing program and the audio for some reason is like this. What do you think? Yeah. Huh? So this is Tulip. So I don't know what happened to the audio, but I'll just finish the video now because there wasn't really much left anyway. So we left off on when I got Poe, and he's the most recent dog I've got up until now. I did get a puppy, and I just wanted to introduce her a little bit more formally and just kind of like talk a little bit about my decisions on getting her from a breeder, which I've never done. This is the first time I've ever actually bought a dog. Like when Dolly passed and I got Poe, I personally, when I lose an animal like a dog, I find that I have space in my life to give another animal that same attention and that same love, and that's exactly what I wanted to do. I see it not as a replacement, but as a way of honoring that animal's life. So Poe really helped me through grieving Dolly, and I wanted to get a puppy to kind of help me grieve Coco. Originally, I did look at adoption first because I do prefer to adopt. I am pretty open. I think that you should adopt or shop responsibly. That's always been like my stance. I'm not firmly against buying from a breeder as long as the breeder is reputable, they do the paperwork, they do the genetic testing and all of that. I wanted to adopt another dog, and shortly after Coco passed, I started looking at rescues, and I found 3 poodle pup siblings that were all really close to me in my area that were up for adoption. They were 5 months old. There's 2 females and 1 male. And I wanted to adopt one of the females because I personally just wanted to get another female dog. So through the application process, it said that they needed a fenced yard and no children. And of course, I don't meet those requirements. Granted, I understand why some dogs need a fenced yard, but as somebody who has had a miniature poodle before, Coco, and was trying to adopt another, I am familiar with their energy level. I go on lots of walks, and I also have my mom's fenced backyard, which is in walking distance, that I go to pretty often, and I actually do my laundry there, so I'm there a lot, and it's in walking distance, so I have access 24/7 to a fenced backyard that I can go to anytime I want. And so I tried explaining this to the rescue, and also I understand why some rescues don't want to adopt to people with children. I explained, my daughter has grown up with the dogs. She's grown up with a lot of animals. She knows how to treat them. She's gentle. But after filling out the application and everything, it said no exceptions and everything. Don't expect to get a call back if you don't meet these requirements, including if you have children and it says no children, or you don't have a fenced backyard when the requirement is that you have one. So I knew right away, they were not going to give me the time of day. Unfortunately, I experienced that before Poe, So I decided to do the breeder option. I've never had a puppy. Unfortunately, I missed out on the puppy phase for all of my dogs because I adopted all of them when they were around a year old or so. So I never got to see them as puppies. I never got to experience them as puppies. Coco was picked up off the street. Poe was also a stray. So I never got to see them as puppies, and I really wanted to do the puppy thing this time, and so it just kind of worked out. I found a reputable breeder. They were about 3 hours away, but willing to meet, and this specific one, I really just loved her. I was just really called to her. So I personally like party poodles. That's what she's called, is a party poodle. She's a miniature poodle. She, AKC papers, everything. She is now 11 weeks. I got her at 8 weeks. No, I got her at 9 weeks, and she's now about 11 weeks old, and it's such an experience having a puppy. I love it. It's so much more work than I expected, but it's fine. It's worth it. So yeah, this is Tulip, aka Bitey, aka alligator teeth. Yeah, I'm really happy with my decision. I personally would love to adopt another dog in the future, and again, that's always my first choice, but this time it didn't work out that way, and honestly, I feel like it did work out the way that it was supposed to. I feel like I did get the dog that I was supposed to. I do want to get her into some training once she's fully vaccinated. She came fully vaccinated for her age when I got her, but as you know, know there's boosters that they have to get like down the line, and we haven't gotten those yet. So I don't really want to put her in any sort of training class until she's like fully vaccinated for like parvo and stuff. Her fur is like really, really soft and puppy. I've been brushing her like every day, just trying to keep it really fluffy and trying to get her used to the brushing. I have to hide things under this blanket or she'll try to chew them, but like I've been trying to brush her out every day. She doesn't really like it, but she deals with it okay. Coco hated when I would brush her feet and her legs, so I'm really trying to like work on that with her so that she gets used to it. Oh, also she has her own Instagram, so if you want to follow her, it's at Poodle Pup Tulip. Anyway, that's the situation. That's my whole dog story. That's what happened to Coco. That's what has been going on, and this is Tulip, who you will probably see in the background of a lot of videos, or at least here in the background for now. I already got shamed over having her in a kennel because I mentioned in a recent video that I got a new puppy and I'm crate training them and they might cry a little bit in the video in the background, and like somebody was already mad at me over that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if this was a little bit of a ramble, a little bit of a depressing video. I know it's not my usual content, but I did want to put that out there, and I also did want to thank Cuddle Clones so much. I actually put this little vial of her hair with her collar on it, and it like really, no, you cannot have that. It really is like a sweet thing to have to remember her by. I also have like her ashes and like a little like almost altar in my bedroom with like her paw print and everything, and a picture and crystals and stuff. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not, and you want to be. Don't forget I have an Instagram that I use probably way too much. It's at Tarantula.Kat. You can go follow me there. I also have a Patreon podcast and a Teespring. It is all linked down below. We will see you guys soon. You wild animal.